Galnet News Digest, 24th of April 3310. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Galactic Powers prepare for a new era of increased commander engagement. We hear news of pre-built ships and engineering improvements. Aegis warns us that the Titans get grumpy when attacked. And the record for the Hutton Run is comprehensively shredded. Oh, and someone said something about the Lakon Type-8.
The leaders of the 11 powers that make up the middle layer of galactic governance are planning a shake-up this summer. But will they get new portraits to go with it? Between the superpowers, the Empire, Federation and Alliance at the top, and the minor factions that actually govern star systems, there's another layer of government. There are less than a dozen highly charismatic characters who have carved up the bubble between them, and by some accounts are more powerful than the superpowers in deciding the future path of galactic politics. These 11 powerful people, including Zachary Hudson, Felicia Winters, Arissa Lavigne Duval, Aisling Duval and Prime Minister Mahan, want to make themselves even more powerful, and are making changes to encourage more commanders to pledge their allegiance. It seems that the days of pledging to get your hands on prismatic shields, pack-hound missiles and grom bombs are coming to an end. The new plan is direct rewards, such as cheaper rebuys and discounts on purchases that get more generous the more you work for the power, through 10 tiers of participation. Care packages will be awarded for continuing loyalty, and there will be a weekly handout of arcs and credits, with the top participants earning substantially more than those who aren't really trying. The top commander each week will have their portrait displayed prominently. Progress through the tiers of participation is one way only. Once you've reached tier 10, you have that honour for life, and all the benefits that come with it. The stronghold systems belonging to each power will come with a carrier fleet that will only allow pledged commanders to dock. They will have improved outfitting and will supply the materials that powers want shifting from one system to the next. According to a knowledgeable source, these carriers have got some nice stuff on them. Attacking the support ships in these carrier groups, stealing goods and intelligence, and just being a general nuisance is likely to be a great way of undermining a power, so skirmishes around these carriers seem highly likely, even though the stealth modes, known as PG and Solo, will still, for the present, continue to be permitted. There's also some stuff about expanding into systems and undermining other powers, which is presumably really exciting and interesting, but the key question about this shake-up is 8 years after the powers first hit the galactic stage, and 8 years after their one and only portrait was taken, will these galactic leaders finally get a second picture to help promote their cause? Princess Aisling was just 25 years old when she posed for her photograph. Now she's a rather more mature 34, and might like to update her image as a responsible liaison between the Empire and Aegis. Demina Torval's advance from 124 to 132 years old is rather less significant as a proportion of her venerable age. But she has ideas about taking over the Chancellorship when Anders Blaine retires, so perhaps she might benefit from some updated imagery. And the people of the galaxy would like to see what their leaders look like in the current decade, not the last one.
The galactic authorities have revealed the details of 2 of the available for arcs pre-built starter ships, and have signalled that they want to work with engineers to make modifying modules for better performance easier. And we've been told that after the Python Mark II, the next ship variant will be the Lakon Type-8. The point about the planned range of pre-built ships is that they'll get you up and running quickly. If you want a serviceable AX ship capable of jumping into a maelstrom without spending ages buying the bits, or if you want a small laser mining ship without the fuss of finding a refinery and all the lasers and limpet controllers, then the pre-built ships might be right for you. They're more about getting past the barrier of knowing what modules you need than about building a perfectly optimised ship for each task, except of course that the pre-built mining ship doesn't come pre-stocked with limpets. Each of the builds has just a touch of strategic engineering, a long-range laser with incendiary rounds in the case of the mining Type 6, and both a Gauss cannon with anti-guardian resistance, and Grade 5 dirty thrusters with the drag-drive experimental effect in the case of the AX Chieftain. There's plenty of scope for further engineering if you want. Rebuy for these bought-for-ARX ships will be totally free, under the Lifetime Insurance or LTI scheme, although you may need to pay the rebuy for any modifications you make to your ship using credits. In related news, the Pilots Federation has been working with the engineers to see if engineering can be made less burdensome. There's nothing definite yet, but it's possible we might be seeing backpacks with a higher carrying capacity, engineering requiring fewer materials, and missions that pay out more materials. The consultation continues. After the first new ship variant, the Python Mark II, which will be available for early access on the 7th of May, the next will be the Lakon Type-8. Given that the Type 7 is a large landing pad ship, it'll be interesting to see what new features can be added to make the Type 8 a distinctive and desirable cargo hauler. Will it, like the Type 10, come with an impressive array of hardpoints? Or will it have a special interdiction evading equipment that makes it perfect for delivering election materials for the power of your choice? We can only speculate.
Aegis has confirmed the destruction of Titan Oya, the third of the 8 Thargoid Titans, but strategist Aidan Tanner has warned that the remaining Titans still pose a significant threat. Tanner warned that attacking a Titan is a highly dangerous mission, and he also revealed what many commanders have suspected, that as the Titan suffers damage, the number and ferocity of Thargoid vessels and the determination of the Titan's own gunners increases, making the area surrounding the Titan far less amenable to sightseers. He reminded commanders to equip caustic sink launchers, Thargoid pulse neutralizers, nanite torpedoes and AX weaponry. Head of Aegis, Alba Tesreau, reminded commanders that they can now take Shard and Gauss cannon into the Maelstrom, but only after you've had them engineered with nanite technology by Ramtar in Mean to make them impervious to the Thargoid's mysterious anti-guardian pulse waves. You may lose about 20% of the effectiveness of the weapon, but they're still pretty good at rattling through any Orthrus you might come upon. Tanner concluded by suggesting that more experienced pilots could mentor newcomers. The next Titan to be targeted will be Hadad in HIP 3377, but it will only become susceptible to damage once it has been driven out of most of the 50 remaining systems it controls. Commanders are advised to participate in AX combat and other activities in these systems to help bring forward the inevitable fall of Titan Hadad in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
The record for the Hutton Run has been comprehensively smashed following the release of Super Cruise Overdrive. Commander Overlight's record for the fastest time between jumping into the Alpha Centauri system and landing at Hutton Orbital, a distance of 0.22 light-years, remained unbroken for over 3 years. It was widely believed that his 1 hour 22 minutes and 21 second time might never be broken. But with the release of Achilles Aerospace's new frameshift drive, which allows a short and fuel-hungry burst of speed in supercruise, the record was broken, with Commander Hutton shaving exactly 20 minutes off the record on the 20th of April. A short burst of overdrive at the beginning and another short burst at the end made a dramatic difference, as the new drive seems to be impervious to gravity wells. But Commander Happy Moon Monkey laid elaborate plans to beat even this time, using a Sidewinder, which is the most fuel-efficient of all ships, kitted out with 16 tons of additional fuel tanks, and with a wing of Type 9s carrying fuel transfer limpets strung out at strategic intervals along the route, and using a combination of supercruise overdrive and wingman navlock, which Commander Ghost Giraffe described as almost as fast as teleportation, Commander Happy Moon Monkey described having his Sidewinder almost instantly refueled while he synthesized another batch of heat sinks ready for the next leg. He allowed 10 seconds for each pit stop. His first run halved the record for the Hutton Run, coming in at around 42 minutes, but on the 25th of April another attempt saw him land at Hutton Orbital just 31 minutes and 50 seconds after jumping into the system. He believes that breaking 30 minutes might be theoretically possible, but it would require a flawless run. So the theory that if you break the 30-minute barrier, you'll win yourself a fully kitted out, pre-built Anaconda for collection from Hutton Orbital must remain for now untested.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We buy the arcs so you don't have to.